Okay, so I'm going to pick up here after they go near the sirens. The lovely voices in ardor appealing over the water made me crave to listen, and I tried to say, "Untie me," to the crew, jerking my brows. But they bent steady to the oars. Then Perimedes got to his feet, he and Eurylochus, and passed more line about to hold me still. So all rowed on until the sirens dropped under the sea rim and their singing dwindled away. My faithful company rested on their oars now, peeling off the wax that I had laid thick on their ears, then set me free. But scarcely had that island faded in blue air than I saw smoke and white water with a sound of waves in tumult, a sound the men heard, and it terrified them. Oars flew from their hands and blades went knocking wild alongside till the ship lost way, with no oar blades to drive her through the water. Well, I walked up and down from bow to stern, trying to pull heart into them, standing over every oarsman, saying gently, "Friends, have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops penned us in his cave? What power he had! Did I not keep my nerve and use my wits to find a way out for us? Now I say, by hook or crook, this pearl too shall be something that we remember. Heads up, lads! We must obey the orders that I give them. Get the oar shafts in your hand and lay back hard on your benches. Hit these breaking seas. Zeus, help us pull away before we founder. You at the tiller listen and take in all that I say. The rudders are your duty. Keep her out of the combers and the smoke. Steer for that headland. Watch the drift, or we fetch up in the smother and you drown us." That was all, and it brought them round to action. But as I sent them on towards Scylla, I told them nothing, as they could do nothing. They would have dropped their oars again in panic, to roll for cover under the decking. Circe's bidding against arms had slipped my mind. So I tied on my cuirass and took up 2 heavy spears, then made my way along to the foredeck, thinking to see her first from there. The monsters of the gray rock, harboring torment for my friends. I strained my eyes upon that cliffside veiled in cloud, but nowhere could I catch sight of her. And all this time in travail, sobbing, gaining on the current, we rowed into the strait. Scylla to port, and on our starboard beam Charybdis, dire gorge of the salt sea tide. By heaven, when she vomited, all the sea was like a cauldron seething over intense fire, when the mixture suddenly heaves and rises. The shot, spume, soared to the landside heights, and it fell like rain. But when she swallowed the sea water down, we saw the funnel of the maelstrom, heard the rock bellowing all around, and dark sand raged on the bottom far below. My men all blanched against the gloom, our eyes were fixed upon that yawning mouth in fear of being devoured. Then Scylla made her strike, whisking 6 of my best men from the ship. Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of this for tomorrow, but I'm going to explain these 2 pages. So back here at the start, they are coming out of where the sirens are. He's saying, "Untie me." He wants to hear them. Obviously, they're not letting him, and they make it through. So all the way down to here, where my arrow is, they make it safely out. They take the wax out of their ears. They've made it through. Then what they do is they start to hear the sounds, right? They're going to be passing Charybdis and Scylla, and they hear this stormy kind of water. And they start to get nervous. Now, Odie hasn't told them anything about this part. He's afraid that if he tells them, they will be too afraid to act and respond the way he wants them to, which is basically to row their little hearts out. So he gives them a little speech by saying, like, "Haven't I worked you through this? Haven't I helped you through other kind of situations? So trust me on this, trust me." So he says row, and they row, and they row. And as they turn and they start to see Scylla coming out. Okay, so where I left off, remember Circe tells Odysseus that he cannot fight. He has to flight, right? He has to just row through and get by. But he forgets that, he says. He grabs his spears. always willing to defend his men and be the leader and the warrior that he is. So he rushes to the highest part of the ship and he tries to see if he can kill her or take off some of the Scylla heads. But as they're rowing, as everyone is terrified of what is going to be happening, they can hear Charybdis churning in the water near them. And then, as we see, the very last line, Scylla makes her strike, and she takes 6 of the men right off the ship and eats them. Okay, so we're going to stop here, and we're going to pick up the exciting part and finish out the story tomorrow.